Okay, it's officially Madden 22 day, and I'm about to dive into all of the info you need to know. Make sure you subscribe and turn the bell icon on, because for the next few weeks, there's going to be a ton of info to dive into about the game. But today, we've got a little bit of stuff to sink our teeth into. Now, right here, I was going to post the trailer and then break everything down, but the trailer keeps getting copyright claimed by mistake. EA said they're going to fix it, but I don't want to wait around and leave you guys hanging on the info. So if you want to check out the trailer, you've probably already seen the trailer. If not, I'll link it below in the description. But let's just break down all of the actual game info for you guys. The first thing they talk about is franchise. Now, they don't talk about a whole much on the website here because, again, it's the first day. I talked about this yesterday. They don't dive too deep into the info on the first day. They save that for the weeks to come, where they deep dive in each specific thing. On the first day, they kind of just give you a glimpse of what's to come, but there is quite a bit of info to cover. So for franchise mode, it says, "We heard you. Not only is your feedback extremely important to us, but also helps Madden NFL get better each year. Our development team worked tirelessly to incorporate highly requested updates to franchise in Madden 22 and to make you feel more connected and in control. There will be more detailed staff management and skill tree progression systems with comprehensive weekly game strategy that integrates into your game plan. Through the regular season and off-season, new scenarios will keep things fresh as you weigh various risks and rewards to make the right decisions for your team. Plus, franchise will see improvements throughout the year via live service updates. Our first live service update targeting September to release is one of your top requested features, player scouting. Keep an eye out for more gridiron notes as each live service update rolls in." So that's interesting right there. So out the gate, we know we're getting the staff management, but I'm glad to see that there's skill tree progression in there, which could mean coaching carousel, or it could just mean, you know, maybe they have their own abilities that affect the team. But I'm glad to see that it's more than just names on a screen. They also said new comprehensive weekly game strategy, which you could see a little bit of that in the glimpse in the trailer. Like it looked like there was something about managing like injuries and health of players, and it looked like a completely like overhauled interface with more options there, but it was kind of hard to see all of the details of it. But was very interesting to see that it definitely looks like there's some new things coming for franchise. And in the September update, they're overhauling the scouting, which I do believe for franchise players, that's like one of the biggest things for them, is they want a better scouting system that gives them more control and more depth. So that is coming in September, which I don't think is too bad as long as it's good. You know, that we're just saying maybe a couple weeks after the game releases, maybe a month after the game releases, you're going to get that. So that's something to note, but that won't be in at the launch. But they're also doing more updates throughout the year. And for years, I know franchise mode people have said, why don't we get updates throughout the year like the rest of the game? Well, they did it last year, and it looks like they're continuing that this year, which I think is good. Next, they talk about the Yard briefly here. It says the Yard is back with a new challenge-based solo campaign. You can now visit new fields located on gorgeous beaches and beautiful mountain landscapes across the world, battle boss characters with unmatched NFL talents, and unlock celebrations and items for your avatar. Plus, a new ranked mode can allow for your competitive Yard players out there to test their skills against one another and earn rewards. I think that's great. I think that's like the biggest thing the Yard needed, was some type of a ranked ladder, a competitive style where you can see who's the best. It didn't have that last year. And it also says they have a new campaign mode, so maybe like somewhat of a career mode-ish in the Yard. So I think that's a good change for people that like the Yard. Next, they talk about Face of the Franchise. It says Face of the Franchise returns, and this time with more customization. Definitely like to hear that. This mode lets you shape your story as a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, or for the first time ever, a linebacker starting to reach NFL superstardom and become more than a game. You'll start out prepping for the NFL and experiencing flashbacks to your most pivotal college football moments. You'll then take the stage on draft day and begin the once-in-a-lifetime NFL journey, playing every game of your rookie season, rising to the top based on all the choices you make. All new player class and progression systems also lets you choose your skills, ratings, and unique attributes, with even more customization options to realistically craft your avatar. You can also level up this year by sharing progression between the Yard and the all-new Face of the Franchise, so you never miss a beat. Now, right off the bat there, I don't want to get too excited about this mode because I was really excited last year. It sounded good and it wound up being awful. I am disappointed once again to see you can't be any position. They've added one new position, linebacker. I'm not sure why they don't just unlock all positions. I definitely think by the time NCAA comes out in a couple years, it's going to be that way, and it's going to revert back more to like superstar mode so that you can take your guy from NCAA into Madden. But for the time being, they're still kind of rolling with Face of the Franchise and just stretching it out a little bit more each year. So it's hard to really say if this sounds good or not, because this doesn't really say too much. It kind of sounds like the same thing with just maybe a different story, and you can be in extra position. So we'll see how that plays out, but nothing there really excites me. Next, they mentioned Superstar KO. It says Superstar KO is back again in Madden 22 with a co-op eliminator mode. You'll be able to play quick games in unique stadiums with fan favorite house rules and icons of football culture. Authentic NFL teams, various stadiums, and rosters will also be available for the first time. So I'm liking this so far. They're doing something for every mode, which is not something they have done in a long time. So it looks like every mode is getting some type of love, some type of change, which I think is good. But let's get to the best stuff, gameplay and stuff like that. The first thing they're talking about here is dynamic game day. So this is more presentation based, and we kind of saw this in the trailer. It definitely looked like game day was more alive than we've seen in Madden in a long time. It says for the first time ever, you can experience dynamic game day, a new feature that will impact gameplay across every mode in this year's game, making the thrills and unpredictability of the NFL come to life. Next gen stats, star-driven AI, and game day atmosphere, which we'll dive into in a minute, make up dynamic game day. Combining the power of next-gen technology, real-world player data, and enhanced AI helps deliver the most emotionally driven and interactive gameplay yet. So here they talk about next-gen stats, star-driven AI, and game day atmosphere. Every team and every player you know and love will be more true to life with next-gen stats, star-driven AI. It's going to change AI behavior and team tendencies based on real-world data over the course of the NFL season. With redesigned next-gen player movement 2.0, players will blitz, scramble, and break tackles during game day based on their real-world next-gen stats data. Game day atmosphere is also bringing real NFL game scenarios to Madden 22. You'll experience the impact of spontaneous moments that can change the outcome of a game in a split second, all based on the unique atmospheres and environments of the stadium. With each stadium housing a unique home field advantage game modifier, you'll be able to shift momentum in or out of your favor during high stakes moments. You'll also see all new crowd animations, on-field reactions, and celebrations that bring the real world emotion of game day to life. So this is interesting. They didn't touch too much on this, but you saw a little bit of it in the trailer. The environments definitely seemed more alive. I thought the weather looked even more intense, but the crowd sounded more alive. You saw the sideline players running onto the field excited after a big play, and they talk about home field advantage. So are we going more back to like the NCAA times where we used to have home field advantage where the crowd would get wild and they'd have the squiggly lines on the field and it'd be hard to audible or call hot routes because the players couldn't hear you, or you'd get more penalties? That's interesting. They don't really talk a lot about that, but they said each unique stadium will have its own home game advantage modifier. So that means different home field advantages. So like in certain stadiums, maybe where crowd noise is known to be a big deal, maybe you have something where, you know, the squiggly lines on the field, the game shakes and your players can't hear you. But in other stadiums, it could be a different type of a home field advantage, just depending on, you know, that particular environment. Like if you're playing in a cold weather type environment, maybe their home field advantage would have something based on that. They don't really dive into it here, but it sounds interesting because it says there's a game modifier. That means when you shift momentum, there's going to be something that helps the home field. Now, let me know how you feel about that, because I'm sure like franchise style players, sim style players, that's something they would be very interested in. But I'm sure like competitive style players probably don't want more game modifiers. So it's interesting to see how that'll be across different modes perhaps. Now here they talk about when we can expect more info to come on each mode, where they're going to dive much deeper and break down every feature, which is, like I said yesterday, that's the most important day because that's when we find out the real information. So you can see here they put up a schedule on June 21st, which is just a few days from now. They're going to dive into franchise first, which I expected because the franchise guys are fed up. You need to get the info out to them as quickly as possible because they're tired of the BS. So it definitely makes sense that you're going to go with franchise first. And then on June 28th, they're going to do all about the dynamic game day. So maybe they'll go more in depth with the home field advantage and momentum stuff. On July 5th, they're going to do Face of the Franchise. On July 12th, they're going to do Superstar KO in the Yard. And then here it says on the 19th, there's a EA Play Spotlight, which is, you know, the EA Play live event. And then on the 26th is a Ratings Week. So they don't talk anything about like a gameplay deep dive here, but I'm assuming maybe on Dynamic Game Day, that's when they're going to talk about gameplay. Here's the pre-order stuff on screen for those that care about pre-ordering. I always say I wouldn't pre-order. I would play the game before pre-ordering because you just never know what you're going to get when the game actually comes out. But for those that want to pre-order, here it is on the screen. They're also doing dual entitlement again this year, which I do think is pretty cool because I guess they know a lot of people still don't have next-gen consoles yet, so they might buy it on current gen but then want to get a next-gen console maybe if it's easier to get in a few months. So it says here, dual entitlement enables you to upgrade your copy of Madden 22 from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 or from Xbox One to Xbox Series X. If you pre-order the digital PlayStation 4 or Xbox version of Madden NFL 22 MVP Edition, it does say MVP Edition, or purchase the Dynasty Edition, I'm not sure exactly what that is yet, just probably more, you get more with the pre-order there. It says you'll receive a digital copy of the full game on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or S. If you pre-order the physical PlayStation 4 or Xbox One version of Madden NFL 22 MVP or Dynasty Edition, you will get a single-use code in the box for a digital copy of the game. So I think that is actually cool that they're doing that again this year. It made sense for them to do it last year. They didn't have to do it again this year, but I do think that's a good look because they have to know that there's a lot of people that still don't have consoles that will be upgrading in a few months. So if you do get it on the current gen, you can upgrade for free again this year. I do think that is something, you know, tip the cap there. I think that's definitely nice. Okay, so let's talk about the beta really quickly. It is going live today, I believe. It's not capturable, meaning you can't like put videos of the beta up or stuff like that, but it's there to give feedback on things that are wrong with the game that you find. The beta is going to include the Play Now, Madden Ultimate Team, Franchise Mode, Superstar KO, and the Yard. But it says that Superstar KO and the Yard is coming during the second week of the beta / playtest. So if you did sign up last week, you should get an email. But if not, you can follow me on social media. You can follow EA. I'll let you know if they're giving stuff away. They might give me codes to give away. They have in the past, so they might do that. But they put out an entire post on their site that you can read through if you're going to play the beta, where they list a bunch of known issues that are already in the game that they're working to fix. So I guess mainly they want you to give them feedback on things that they don't already know about and aren't already addressing. So I'll have all that link below that you can look into. But yeah, beta should be today. Let me know what you feel about the first day info. Make sure to subscribe and turn your bell icon on because every week we're going to get a lot of info, and that's the info that's going to matter the most. We're going to learn much more about each mode and the gameplay and things like that. But for day one, let me know, are you optimistic? Do you still think this doesn't look like enough? Let me know, and I will see you guys next time.